completely and utterly shameless. Meghan Markle has yet again ignored Prince Harry's wishes and pimped out her children. Look at this time with Serena Williams.
Meghan Markle, once the Duchess of Sussex, now Hollywood's most controversial figure, has reportedly been banned by Netflix from attending the Oscars. That's right. The platform that once signed the Sussexes to a multi-million-dollar deal has shut the door on their red carpet dreams.
On Instagram, all to say 3 days until the party begins, you're all invited to watch With Love, Meghan. Of course, there was also a picture of Meghan hugging Serena Williams, because obviously we need proof that they're still friends. But as according to Taz posted on X, Meghan took swipes about not wanting to serve her children up on a platter. But here we are. It's 2025 and we have seen the children more in a matter of weeks than we have in the last 5 years. It's all about serving up the children for Netflix views and Instagram subscribers. I'm honestly shocked Harry is allowing this, given all his many speeches about online child safety. The privacy of his children is paramount. His childhood trauma of being wailed out to the cameras, blah, blah, blah. It's obvious how desperate Meghan is after all the backlash, but once she opens Pandora's box, she won't be able to cry and complain because she can't close it. It shows total hypocrisy for all their many complaints about protecting their children, much like Archie being offered up for Oprah and Netflix, and Lily for Netflix and Instagram. Let me bring in now Royal News Network editor Brittany. Brittany, this is just so shocking, isn't it? Because I guess the one area where I disagree with Tasha in that tweet is Harry isn't approving of this. He has no choice, because Meghan has to try and make this show a hit, or they're going to lose all their finances.
Today, we're breaking down what insiders are calling a brutal Hollywood rejection. This latest snub has sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving many to wonder about the future of some of its biggest names. And why this could be the final blow to their careers. The stakes have never been higher, and the fallout could be unprecedented. For Meghan and Harry, this rejection marks a significant turning point.
Oh, it's so true, Dan, especially when you consider that Harry has essentially given up having any sort of job. He's essentially going to, I think, get a little bit of money, but he's said basically, I can't do this. I'm just going to be a pseudo royal again. And so everything really is falling on Meghan. And you have to wonder, too, Meghan's supposedly there to promote her show. And how in the world does posting a picture of her child and Serena Williams playing Candyland supposed to entice people to watch her show? It's really a pointless ad for it. It's just there to get clicks and utilize the kids to get attention, because we've seen the sneak peek of her show and it was not very good. So all she's doing is like, well, if I put the kids up here, this will get more attention and this maybe will get more eyeballs on the show. But she is, I always thought, totally and completely willing to use the kids as necessary in order to gain attention. And we're seeing this come to fruition now. I always thought once things get really bad and dire, that's when the kids will come into play. And I think we see it playing out here with her show. I think she's pretty nervous about it.
And then, of course, the product placement is everywhere too. From, according to Taz again, quite simply product placement. Lily looks awkward because she's not playing the game. She's been positioned the same as the book and board, and matching her pink outfit. The kids are props to Meghan, all to be merched, all for the Instagram Netflix silver platter. And of course, we are hearing growing concerns about Meghan's parenting abilities.
Yeah, and you see when you look at that, it's just like, why is that there? Like perfectly placed, everything's there. It's not a natural setup at all. And we are pretty wise to this anymore. I think in the early days of Instagram, you could go, oh no, they were just setting it up because that's the way it was. No, we're all well aware of how fake Instagram is and how that was totally just a ploy for attention. How much were they really playing that game? I don't know. I don't know where the game came from, but she had it personalized and she wanted everybody to know that, and all the products there, maybe some of them are from her site, maybe not, I'm not sure, but it's just totally just a ploy to make money. It's just a ploy to merch and utilize the kids because she knows they'll get attention. And she knows that sometimes the only attention she gets is negative. So she can put the kids in there. Oh, look, Serena Williams, my friend, she's a tennis player. Let's get them all there so I can get attention so I can promote my show, but with things that have nothing to do with my show. So it's all just really quite bad and quite bad theater.
Stephanie Sidley posted on this: Harry and Meghan are sick. They strategically placed the kids in pictures leading up to the big reveal. They're literally treating those children like a paycheck. Wow. And it is a wow moment, isn't it, Brittany? Because actually, we can never take all of their claims about caring about online privacy and caring about protecting kids from social media seriously again. Because the moment they have a make or break show to promote, all of their morality when it came to protecting the children has gone out the window.
Exactly. And when you look at actually what they said, especially I think in the CBS interview, they're sort of talking. Harry, I think it's Harry talks at one point, it's like, well, my kid's on an iPad in another room and I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, why do your young children have iPads in a room where you're not in? That's actually not really all that great parenting, to be quite honest. And so I just don't know how engaged they are to a certain extent, but it's just so clear that when push comes to shove, when they just really, really need the positive press, they're going to pull out the kids. And we knew this was coming. And it seems like in order to promote her show, she's going to retire and rely in a large extent on her kids, at least on Instagram, in order to do it, because there's no other reason to post that at all. Just saying 3 days until, well, it's like, Meghan, why don't you tell us a bit more about your show? We don't need to see your kids. Tell us about your show. Tell us about you. That's why we're going to watch the show. Watching your daughter play Candyland, it's cute, but it ain't going to sell your show.
Once the darlings of both royalty and Hollywood, their influence seems to be fading fast. According to multiple Hollywood sources, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were notably absent from Netflix's exclusive Oscars invite list this year. This exclusion comes as a surprise to many, especially considering their high-profile contract with the streaming giant.
On this whole look, we had Lady Colin Campbell here last week, and she is now seriously concerned about Meghan's parenting. And TRG, the Royal Grift, had a similar point on this, Brittany, saying, why is Meghan doing this? Whoever this child is acting pretty hesitant, like as if she's afraid to play, what child is hesitant to play Candy Lane unless they've been locked in an attic and don't know how to interact with other people? That is obvious here. These children are walking on eggshells, just like Archie watering the garden. And it was that hose video in particular that Lady Colin Campbell had been so concerned about.
I mean, it's so hard to tell because we have not seen enough of them to really make a discernment. We get these brief, a couple second clips, so I can't say for sure what exactly is going on. But yeah, there is a lot of hypocrisy in how they treat their children. It's like we can't serve them up on a platter to the British press, even though they're now a prince and princess, and Harry and Meghan want that to be acknowledged. But they are fully willing to put them up and serve them on a platter to the public when they need to sell something. So I mean, it's just difficult to say what goes on behind the scenes, although we can say for certain that it is really a shame that Archie and Lilibet do not get to spend time with their royal cousins, George, Charlotte, Louis. You have the Tyndalls as well. You have the Phillips children, just so many kids within that royal fold that they could be spending so much time with, having so much fun with, and their parents prevent them from doing that. And I just think that's an absolute shame on them for sure.
Can I just ask about Serena Williams? Why do you think that she is the one celebrity who seems to allow herself to be used for promotion by Harry and Meghan? Because there was a brief appearance in Polo from her as well. Why has she stood by this pair when we know all the others haven't? Oprah, Gayle King, the Clooneys, the Beckhams, etc., etc. Why has Serena Williams decided to stay loyal?
I'm not sure. It's one of those things where it just doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, she is a superstar in her own right. She doesn't really need to hang on to Harry and Meghan. They don't really offer that much. Apparently, she is just, you could argue just as willing to sell herself for a couple of bucks as anybody else. Like, I don't know how else to really look at it in a way. I guess she must really value her friendship with Meghan Markle, although I'm sure Meghan Markle values it more for the attention because Meghan uses, I think, Netflix and Serena and other people who are more established in order to prop up herself because she doesn't really have too much going on her own. She needs other people in order to make herself look good. And so Serena Williams is willing to be that person. I don't know why. I think she probably has other better things to do, but I guess she's a loyal friend. So can't say much about that.
Narinder Kaur has taken this whole issue back to the race thing. And we do know that Serena Williams was obviously very big during the Black Lives Matter period, for example. And she posted, the Duchess of Sussex has just shared a video of Princess Lilibet on her Instagram playing with her aunt, Serena Williams. I'm glad Princess Lilibet has strong Black women around her as inspiration to take her forward as a royal family member. Now, I have so much to pick up on there, Brittany, because firstly, she's not really a member of the royal family. We don't know the truth about how Lilibet was born. She should actually be removed from the line of succession because of that. But even if you put that to one side, the fact that she's growing up as an American in Montecito, knows nothing about British cultures and tradition, hasn't really met her grandfather, the king, at all, should actually exclude her, I think, from being in the line of succession and being considered a member of the royal family.
Despite their significant deal, which has garnered much attention and speculation, they were not extended an invitation to one of Hollywood's most prestigious events. This decision has raised eyebrows and led to questions about the nature of their relationship with Netflix and their standing in the entertainment industry.
Oh, yes, 100%. I have advocated for a while now that the Brits should adopt the Swedish approach, which is that it's actually written in their constitution that in order to keep your title and place in the line of succession, I believe both of those things, you must be raised and educated in Sweden. And
Yep,
I
totally.
think that is perfectly appropriate. And Princess Madeline moved her family for a period of time to Florida. They've now moved back to Sweden in part because of that law. But I think it establishes that, hey, you can have a title, but you need to actually know something about the country of the title you hold. I mean, I'm not even sure Harry and Meghan could pick out Sussex on a map and tell you 5 things about it. And yet they call themselves constantly the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I think there should be an amendment in the letters of patent to say simply, you must be raised and educated in the United Kingdom in order to keep UK titles. And if you decide not to do that, then you lose those titles. And I think you could make it so that it's both for the future and going back to the past as well and affect Archie and Lilibet, because it's just silly for them to have titles. It's pointless. And depending on what happens in the future with them, they could be a really big drag on the monarchy if they're, falling out of clubs or something, anything like that in LA.
Oh, well, of course.
They're going to be a big problem in the
Brittany,
future.
thank God you have just raised that. Thank God you have just raised that, because I'm sorry, with parents like Harry and Meghan, who are using their children for fame, using their children for money, I promise you, Brittany, this only leads in one direction, and it's not good. We've seen what's happened with lots and lots of child stars who come out of Hollywood. I know very closely how disturbed they can become, and I would predict a very similar thing. So I think Charles has to be stronger. I don't think he will. I think William probably has a plan in his back pocket, but of course we don't know whether he will be on the throne or not. But there's a very easy way, by the way, to deal with the Archie and Lilibet situation. It's just to say, okay, prove that Meghan actually gave birth to the two of them. Prove that. And that's legally watertight.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. I'm not really, haven't really gone down the surrogacy route. I'm not that interested in that, but I think there is a truth there that it's like they need to establish some things first. They've sort of tried to circumvent everything and sort of played games. And I think it's been nothing to the disadvantage of their children, regardless of the surrogacy or not, that this question exists, I would say is the fault of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry for playing games, telling people she was in labor after she had already given birth, lying about things they did not need to lie about. And as a result, we have this confusion. And so to clear up the confusion, I think is very important, but I think it's good to protect the future of the monarchy too, because you don't really want to have another Harry situation. You want to make it clear, hey, If you decide to step out of line and do your own thing, you have the right to do that, but there are consequences to that decision. And Harry and Meghan just don't seem to actually have a lot of consequences, and it makes sort of a negative impact on the entire situation. And I think damages the brand of the monarchy in many ways.
Now, Brittany, there is so much riding on the next 24 hours for Ms. Markle and Prince Harry, who needs her money. We could call it the Netflix moment of truth, which Meghan Markle is bracing for. And look at these mainstream media headlines, which are making that exact point. Fox News there. The New York Times, which has always been pro-Harry and Meghan, say with Netflix show, Meghan tries for lifestyle maven status. Ain't gonna happen. Or then we also have, and maybe this is the one thing that might save them, Brittany, inside the rising trend of hate watching and why it could make Meghan's new show a sensation. That's according to the Daily Mail. But the big disaster, the huge embarrassment for Meghan Markle is that Netflix banned her from the Oscars. This was the moment that she needed to be on that red carpet. She needed to be at the Vanity Fair show. She needed to be promoting to the world on the back of the Oscars, even though I do agree with you, Brittany, that the Oscars are fading. It was a boring show and no one really cares. It was still the moment. And Lady C, our friend Lady C, has some fascinating intelligence on this. So I just want to take you through it, Brittany, before I get your reaction.
Every year, Netflix brings its biggest stars and strategic talent to the Oscars. It's a grand showcase of their most celebrated actors, directors, and producers, all walking the prestigious red carpet. The streaming giant ensures its presence is felt, with a dazzling array of talent that captures the attention of the world.
So Lady C has written, so Ari Emanuel of WME and Netflix, including Ted Sarandos, didn't come to Meghan's aid. They didn't even help her orchestrate a face-saver in which she would stick like glue to the red carpet at the Oscars as a face-saving substitute for what she had originally intended, namely promoting herself under the guise of promoting her wares, jam for sale, sweetness everywhere, roses are red, etc., etc., etc. I was hesitant to give her and them the chance to prove wrong the information I'd been given by a big Hollywood bongo drum a month or so ago, which I had intended to keep under my hat until I realised the Oscars were too far away, at which point I threw caution to the wind and repeated what I'd been told a fortnight ago. This was that Netflix had scuppered Meghan's ambition to broadcast to the audience at the Oscars a message of support as a native Californian who felt so deeply the tragedy of her native state as a result of the Californian fires that she felt. Meghan, I mean, she goes on by saying Netflix wisely refused to play ball, which left them open to the question, does Meghan have enough pull in Hollywood to be able to pull off a face saver with the Oscars board and convince them to allow her to become a walking, talking, smiling embodiment? And of course, she couldn't. And Lady C says, poor Megsy baby, her goose does seem to be well and truly cooked. She says Netflix have no great hopes. And I do find this absolutely fascinating because Netflix owns the Oscars these days, Brittany. They had more nominations than anyone else with Amelia Perez. Ted Sarandos could have got Meghan there with a click of his fingers, and he didn't.
Yes, and I think especially the Vanity Fair after party, that's what I started really watching because I figured if she was going to show up at any point, it would be there. Because I think it's a little ridiculous for her to go on the stage of the Oscars, although I could see her thinking that people really need to see her on stage at the Oscars to really sell her show. But it would make a lot of sense for her to go to the after party. And of course, she didn't do that. And it's very strange, I think. And just goes to show because Netflix has such pull, somebody even asked Ted Sarandos on the red carpet, is Netflix going to buy the options to show the Oscars? Because they do show the SAG now. And so the option, I think, to come up to air the Oscars is something that maybe Netflix might be interested in. And so Netflix could definitely get her there if they wanted to. And I don't think they did. I don't think they really wanted her there, even though they're trying more this time to promote her show. I don't think there's a lot of love for Meghan in any level of Hollywood, really.
This year, the Sussexes were reportedly left off the list entirely. Their absence was notable, sparking conversations and speculations about the reasons behind this unexpected decision. Do you think Meghan and Harry deserve to be excluded? Or is Netflix just protecting its brand? Smash that like button if you think Hollywood's finally said enough is enough. Subscribe for the real story behind the headlines every week.